I want to just move on and talk about clean tech because that's a hot topic. We've got Sylvia Jablonski here. Sylvia, clean tech was hot in 2020. The ETFs around it, thematic tech, thematic clean energy, are hot again in 2021. You've got your hydrogen ETF. It just started trading, HDRO, last week. Just lay out the case for hydrogen. Why you've been very emphatic that hydrogen is overlooked. Hydrogen is going to be one of the big clean energy plays for the 2020s. Give us the 30-second rundown on why you believe that's going to be the case.
Absolutely, and thanks for having me, Bob. So, 90% of the world's energy consumption right now is provided by fossil fuels, and fossil fuels are, as we know, non-renewable, harmful to the environment, and contribute to global warming. So, as natural reserves dwindle and the populations grow, there's this need to find a clean, sustainable energy solution that'll meet our energy demands. And none of the existing alternative energy sources out there now, like solar, wind, or biomass, are able to provide sufficient cost-effective energy supply. So enter hydrogen. So hydrogen right now is at about $200 billion of investment. It's Bank of America recently estimated that it could grow to $11 trillion of investment. So $2.5 trillion of direct revenues by 2050. I think it's just a massive investment opportunity, and it's now a practical energy source, which could end up being 25% of our energy needs.
What can run on hydrogen right now? I mean, golf carts. I mean, tell us what's feasible to run on hydrogen.
Yeah, sure. So you'd be surprised, actually. There's a lot running on hydrogen. There are about 14,000 vehicles running on hydrogen through the use of fuel cells. You've got hydrogen-powered forklifts, and companies like NASA, Amazon, Home Depot, Boeing, Walmart, BMW, just to name a few, are using them. And sort of as they strive to become carbon neutral, there are buses running on fuel cell technologies, hydrogen energy basically there. We're talking about the Olympics in Japan. They're talking about having all of the buses run on fuel cells now. So, just about anything and everything you can think of, on-site power generation, long-duration energy storage, all of it actually exists, and it's just growing and growing as the technology becomes more sophisticated and it becomes cheaper to do it.
And can hydrogen compete against, electrification or solar, for example? How does the cost stack up right now?
Yeah, so basically, it's thought that the costs now will be 50% less within coming years. So, it has, to your point, it has been more expensive, but the costs are actually coming down as more and more companies come out and sort of figure out how to produce it, how to store it, how to extract it. And, it's really it's sort of a simple process, right? It's electrolysis. It's a chemical process that's hydrogen from water using electricity. And after, it's made, it can be stored. So once it's stored, it goes to a fuel cell for transfer of energy. The fuel cell separates protons and electrons. The electrons pass through a circuit. They make electricity, and the byproduct of all of this is water, which obviously is not, a gas or carbon or some sort of pollutant. So the costs are essentially coming down, and they're thought to be basically cut in half as years go forward. And the storage is also becoming more efficient.
Right. So the glide path is kind of like solar. I mean, several years ago, it was considerably more expensive than, say, even natural gas. And now it's come down so dramatically that it's actually at least equal or cheaper than natural gas. You think hydrogen is going to have the same kind of glide path in terms of costs?
Yeah, absolutely. And, the difference is it's the most abundant element in the universe, really. So it can actually provide enough energy that we need as our population grows. So that's sort of the difference between solar. Solar and wind are just amazing alternative energy resources, but hydrogen can really take scale and provide, up to 25% of our energy needs in the future. So there is a huge difference there in terms of just like the investment opportunity and the impact of hydrogen.
The one thing I've noticed is still a dearth of investable products. I mean, I just look at what you own here, and there's really three companies that are 30% of it: Plug Power, Fuel Cell, and Ballard Power. If you add them up, they're like 30% of the whole thing. This seems to be the same problem we had, years ago with certain things like solar, where there's not a lot out there that's close to a pure play. I know there are peripheral companies that get some elements from this. Is that going to change?
I think, I definitely think it's going to change. And one of the important things to think about is when we built this ETF, we also wanted to provide, products that are, have pure exposure to hydrogen and fuel cell, but B, that are liquid enough. We don't want the investor to get nailed with products that perhaps, don't trade, don't have any market cap and are highly, highly volatile. So, you definitely have a smaller basket here, but as these companies grow and, sort of like more companies come into the marketplace, the ETF could potentially expand. But if you look at just like the opportunity here with the recent value rotation over the past month or so, some of these names have been down 30-40%, but like year to date, they're up over 50%. Fuel cell plug, for example, Ballard Power, ITM. I mean, some of these names are just like absolutely crushing it. And I think with the recent rotation, they've been great opportunities for investors to get exposure to the space.
Yeah, Plug Power has been an absolute monster. I mean, that's just been a total darling of the clean energy crowd for more than a year. Sylvia,
no
while I
one
have
knows
you
what
here,
it
you
is,
also run the.
Just that point. No one knows what it is. If you talk to people like, well, what do they do? Well, they use hydrogen to power forklifts for companies like NASA, Amazon, Home Depot, Boeing, Walmart. Like these are massive companies that are adopting Plug Power technology. So it's an actual thing that's being used in the world.
Yeah, it's wonderful to see this finally take off. It's wonderful to see a chart of the energy output of a solar cell dramatically go up. It looks like this, and then the cost of that cell like that going dramatically down and competing against natural gas, for example. I mean, it really restores your faith in technology and the power to make things more efficient. The technology improves and the costs go down as the technology gets better, and also manufacturing costs go down because you get bigger scale. It's really, a classic situation of a new technology disrupting an old business. And now you got companies, oil companies talking about, we're not oil companies, we're energy companies now. And it's wonderful to see it's really now real and taken off. I think it's very exciting.